I think he retired, and you saw he just put his hand up and he was just lost and not sure what's going on. But he's not happy. He wasn't happy about something there. And that's such a shame, because that means he won't be able to ride in the Grand Prix B test in a couple of days, and he will not be able to qualify for the freestyle either. So such a shame for Spain and for Felix. Not really what you would want for your European Championships ride. So not the best start for this Grade 2 class. But coming up, we do have 4 of the riders who are ranked within the top 5. So these are the riders you would expect to be fighting for the medals. And there's one of them, Anne-Catherine Lubbe for Norway. So actually recently regraded at the start of this year. She was a Grade 3. She had a lot of success in Grade 5. She's moved down the grades as her disability has got worse. She had a lot of success in Grade 5 with the iconic Zanko. So a number of years ago. Last year she competed as a Grade 3, and this year, having been regraded at the start of the year, moved into this Grade 2 and had some very strong results this year. So this is definitely going to be one to watch. She will be fighting for that podium spot. So the Danish world champion from last year, Katrine, she is not here this year, so the Grade 2 is wide open. And the riders will be fully aware of that, so they will be fighting out for the medals. Making her championship debut in this grade, so she will be very interested in where she finishes off at the end of this class and whether that can be on the podium. So representing Norway, and Catherine Lubbe rides La Costa Mayland, the 12-year-old bay gelding by Sir Lancelot, and a very experienced competitor, just been led around there. So riders do have that option. They also have the option for a friendly horse who can be positioned the outside of this arena just to give the horse confidence, but we might see that later. That's just an option for the lower grade riders, just to cover that safety element as well. So entering the arena for Norway. And says they're ranked 22, but she has recently moved up following her international results. So definitely one you would be watching for those medals. What can she do in this Grade 2 class? So very obediently up into that trot. And you really want to see, you can see here that more uphill tendency, a little bit of resistance in that contact, so a little bit of tension coming in, but you start to see that uphill tendency where the horse looks like it's walking up a hill. The front end comes up, it's sitting on that those hind legs, taking a bit more weight. Nicely into that walk, preparing for that leg yield, and you can see there much more parallel than the last one we just saw. Really nice steps, and coming in with a strong score. And again, nicely into trot. You just want to see the horse just relax a little bit into it. You just see that slight resistance through the transition. You really want it to look effortless there. But nicely into that serpentine. Again, just a tiny bit of resistance there, but showing some real quality steps. And doing a really good job of maintaining that balance through those changes of bend. Super steps on that walk circle, really nice rhythm. Taking her time. Again, nicely into trot. You just see that. Those odd moments of resistance and tension that she just wants to iron out for the even higher marks, but showing some really nice work here. And nicely into halt. I think just not quite square behind. You could do with another couple of tiny half steps behind, but very good in front. Very good immobility. And again, nicely into that leg yield. You can see that moment. Oh, she does have that friendly horse just spotted in the corner. And see that moment of transition from that walking straight on the 3/4 line into the leg yield, and a better transition into trot there. Just using that bend on the circle just to get her leg on a little bit and get that focus on her, not looking around the arena. Just that little bit of resistance, just losing the balance through that right side as she comes on to the diagonal, and you just see the bit of resistance in the rein, but doing a good job to manage it nicely into the walk. This walk work is a real highlight, I think, of this test. Super stretch. So able to give those reins, so you can just see giving a little pat, saying just relax, stay with me. She can give those reins to allow the horse to take the rein forward and show that stretch. So some riders in this grade won't be able to do that. They'll be leaning forwards to do that. So each rider having to work with what they're able to do and balancing what they can do easily and what shows the horse off to the best of their ability. Super steps in this trot circle. Much better to the right than the circle we saw to the left there earlier in that test. And better steps in the medium. To be super critical, we could see a little bit more difference in the medium. The horse already very scopy, so it's quite difficult to see a huge difference with that. Again, nicely into the walk. There's a lot of changes between the paces in this test, really highlighting the horse's obedience, suppleness. Super onto that centre line from that diagonal, looking very straight down the centre line. And a good halt to finish. So a very nice test from Norway. And she is the first of those top 4 riders to go. So really laying down what she's done, see how the others can respond. Has she done enough to get a spot on that podium? Just patting that horse. Really nice to see a horse relaxed as they leave the arena. She looks very pleased with that. And you can see from some of these highlights here, the horse has a super way of going and really is able to show that expression in the trot. And there's definitely more to come from this combination, I think. They've had a super year, posted some really high scores, and I have a feeling they'll just get better and better through the week. Just a few moments of tension just here that will have brought the marks down a little bit, but so much quality. A really super partnership to be watching here in this grade 2. And the scores coming through now. Judge at E, 73.621, H, 68.793, C, 72, M, 74. And that leaves her on a score of 72.9. So a little bit of a mixed bag with the judges there. Scores of 68 to 73. So leaves her, and the judge at B, I think, gave her 75. So big difference there. So leaves her on a score of 72.724%. So currently she goes into first place. But next into the arena will definitely be one looking to battle for those medals. Representing Austria, Peppo Puk, who rides Sailor's Blue, 15-year-old gelding. And Peppo, a multiple medalist at European, World and Paralympic Games. He was a top-level eventer before his accident, but since then he has stormed the para-dressage world, so he is definitely going to be one looking for that top spot. This is a lovely partnership to watch. They are so in tune with each other. So entering the arena for Austria, Peppo Puk. And a very good halt to start, really showing that immobility off. Really establishing that halt and saying, give me those top marks. Nicely into trot there. And you can really see here the horse just stays in such a consistent frame and such a nice way of going, and is really showing true self-carriage. Peppo not able to give him so much stability from the rein, but really using his body and his seat and his skill as a rider to keep that consistent way of going, that balance in the right place. Very nicely over. And not showing as much sideways as the previous rider, but really hitting the marker at the right point, which is what the judges are looking for. They don't want to see too much angle because you'll get to the track before they want you to. So really showing that control. Nicely through the serpentine, just coming back a little bit at him in the frame at times, just to be super critical. They really want that head and neck staying out and up in front, and just at times ducking behind that vertical. And oh, that was unfortunate. Just a bit of resistance on that walk. You can just see the quarters coming in a little bit, just losing that straightness. So the judges on the short side will have had a really good view of that, and the judge just in front of him. So the horse not quite as relaxed as I've seen him before to pull in those top marks, but Pepe doing a very good job of managing this. Again, you just see a little bit of unsteadiness that will bring the marks down a little bit. But Pepe really riding for every mark he can. Nicely into trot there. Very good on the marker. So the judge is looking at the ease of the transition, the placement of the transition, responsiveness to the rider's aids, whatever that is. And riders in these lower grades often using their voice and body weight to get the reactions rather than the leg so much. They've got the whip to back it up a little bit, where they might need to reinforce an aid just as a replacement to that leg aid often. That's better, just showing some nice stretch there. Just again, that tiny bit of resistance that just, the quality of work is still very good, but not quite pulling in those top marks that he would have been looking for and that he knows he's able to do. Some nice trot work here. The horse just has so much quality and natural ability and really doing its best to stay with Peppo. Nicely into walk. You really want the horse to step forwards into walk, not for it to be a backwards movement. Peppo showed that really nicely. Right on the marker. Just looking for that last center line. Oh, and a very good halt to finish. Really showing that immobility at the end there as well. Very good in those halts. Really pulling in the marks where he can. A very professional ride from Peppo, as always. And big pats for the horse at the end. It's so nice to see riders just happy with their rides and really showing their appreciation for the horses at the end of the test. They don't know that they're at the Europeans and they don't know how much it matters, and it's a privilege to ride the horses and for the horses to allow us to take them into this atmosphere. So really nice to see from Peppo. It really is a true partnership when you're at this level, and we spend so much time with the horses and we really do have to have that special bond with them. It's a real team effort. Peppo looking very pleased with his horse. So we will wait for those scores to come through to see where he falls in for this grade 2. But next into the arena, for Germany. And next medal contender, Heidemarie Dressing. She rides horse 24 Dulup, 11-year-old gelding. And this horse is a beautiful horse, very high quality. And she has had some super results this year. But here's Peppo's score, so 71.862. So he falls into second place, that's silver medal placing at the moment. But I do think this is going to be a combination to challenge that. So for Germany, Heidemarie Dressing. Not quite that square halt, but very good in mobility and look nicely straight coming in. So what can she do with this super horse? And she, already the bell is gone because she should have entered in walk. So that's a pity. 2 riders in this first class already. It just shows it's so difficult to be focused. You're focusing on so many different things and your main priority is the horse's way of going. I'm not sure she's fully understanding. And Pran there just trying to clarify. I'm not, seems to be a bit of confusion. I'm assuming that it was just that she was meant to enter and walk. And I'm just trying to explain to her what she should be doing. And I'm really hoping that she hasn't got the tests mixed up and she's not riding what used to be known as the individual test. But we do ride these tests a lot, so hopefully she will still be prepared to ride what is now known as the Grand Prix A and was formerly known as the team test. So here she is. So entering the arena for the second time, and she just is going to have to put that behind her because it's one movement, it's one error of course, and a better halt. So wipe that from your mind. This horse still has the ability to pull in the big scores to make up the difference. And very nicely into trot there. And you can see the quality of this trot work. Very nicely uphill, nicely in the frame. Such a soft moving, scopy horse. Really nicely through those turns and the change of balance. Very nicely into walk. So not quite starting on the score she would have liked to, but hopefully some of the quality work she's showing will help to pick that up. So very nicely into the leg yield there. Keeping that rhythm. Super into the trot. You could really see the horse stepping through and under Just hopefully not getting too much trot there. You want to keep that relaxation, keep that softness. The horse almost starting to trot before she'd asked through that first transition. It was ready to take her. Super to see. She gave the aid, thought about it, and the horse was there straight away. Just maybe would like to take a tiny bit out of the walk just so that it can really show that rhythm off. But again, super transition. It's a very difficult balance to find these horses that have the temperament and the ability to cope with an atmosphere and just have that natural engine. Just a little bit abrupt into that hole, but very good immobility and square. It's very difficult when you have that much push and movement. You really need to set them up and make them wait a little bit before that halt transition. But nicely into the walk again. A little bit slower into the leg yield this way. You can see she's not quite reaching the track until just after K, but still very nice. Super. This trot is a real highlight. This is definitely one I'd be more than happy to have a play on. It's a beautiful horse, and Haida Marie doing a really super job keeping that balance through the turns. Oh, look at the extension. So the rider's just needing to show a few strides of medium trot in this grade 2. Nicely into the walk. And just showing that stretch, but not quite as much as we could have seen. So it's a half 20-meter circle of walk stretch and not really showing much difference until that crossing the center line. So could have been a bit braver with that, but we don't know how difficult it is for her to get the reins back. So maybe that was a compromise that she decided to take with her coaches so that she could then produce this lovely trot work. So again, sometimes we have to work within the confines of what we're able to do and not always show as much of a difference to protect the movement that comes after. And she is definitely laid down the marker in this grade 2, sitting at 74%. And a smile on her face as she turns onto that diagonal. So she will go into that gold medal position with just one rider left to go. Oh, an unfortunate moment in that last hole, the horse just swinging through, but well corrected from her, and a very, very nice test from Haida Marie. She did such a good job just to put that first bit of confusion behind her, and I think she probably did come in riding what she thought was going to be the test for today, but very professional, putting that behind her, and look at the quality of work this horse is able to show. Real top class. You could just see there the trot getting a little bit too much, but she did a really great job settling the horse back down. And you can just see there's so much more in there. The horse just so able, and everything just looks easy. I think that was the reaction to her going wrong, or that bit of extra. We have such a good support teams behind us all as riders. We absolutely cannot do this on our own, and they really do follow this journey and go on this journey with us. So a super test from Hyde and Marie, but next into the arena, our final Grade 2 rider. You can see that grin going around the edge of the arena for Great Britain, Georgia Wilson, and she rides the 9-year-old mare Sakura. So this partnership, very experienced, the most experienced for the British team this year. We've got some new faces, some new horses. Georgia and this lovely horse got a last-minute call-up for the Tokyo Paralympics a couple of years ago, going in as a reserve, and came back with 2 bronze medals. Really made the most of that opportunity, and again last year at the World Championships picked up individual bronze. And there's the final score for Hyde and Marie, 74.776, and she goes into that gold medal spot with 1 rider to go, so guaranteed medal. Georgia, the individual gold medalist from the 2019 Europeans with Midnight. And just not looking quite as straight on that centre line for that halt. But nicely into that walk work. Very obediently into that trot. This horse shows a really nice, easy rhythm. She stays good in the frame. Georgia doing a really super job of balancing her around those turns. Nicely into that walk. And a nice transition into that leg yield. So you really want to see that. Started with a little bit of left flexion, but straighter in the neck. Showed some good steps in that leg yield. Georgia just getting that left shoulder under control before she continued that leg yield. So doing a really good job just to keep that horse nicely aligned. And those steps true in the leg yield. Nice changes of bend through the serpentine. Could see a little bit more suppleness on the bends, but keeping a nice balance, nice rhythm. Just making it look really easy. Just a slight hesitation there. You saw Suki just getting a little bit ahead of herself, but Georgia very quickly caught her. Said stay, not yet. Stay in that walk rhythm. And again, Suki not showing the same level of expression in the trot as Hyde and Marie's horse for the big marks, but really showing a very clean test, keeping nice balance, Georgia keeping a nice rhythm, and everything just looks very easy. So really picking those marks up. Nicely in that walk leg yield. Nikki Lickley there, who Georgia trains with, just watching on. And again, just a little bit more suppleness on some of these circles and turns, but Georgia doing a really good job of keeping her in balance, not asking too much, just scooping up those marks, not throwing anything away when she doesn't have to. This horse has just got such a lovely temperament and such a good brain. She really stays with Georgia. Georgia trusts her completely, which is such a nice feeling when you go into the arena with that in that place. So you see there, Georgia needing to lean forwards to show that stretch off, which is more difficult to show, to allow the rein forwards. But when you can't pick the reins up and you struggle to drop the reins because she has those loop reins, it's really about that compromise, and it's quite a quick transition afterwards to go from free walk to medium walk into that trot. So if you've not got those reins back, it's a very tricky movement to do. Not quite showing the difference in the medium that we've just seen, but Georgia doing a good job of bringing her back a little bit in the corner and at the end to show that difference that she can do. Really highlights the change within that trot. And Suki looks a little bit on her toes today, but in a nice way, and really staying with Georgia, really listening and waiting for any aid that she gives her, really looking on the ball, and Georgia doing a great job of managing that, and a much better halt and straighter halt to finish. And big smiles from Georgia. The British team watching on. A super job from Georgia. She is so consistent as a rider. She's got such a cool head on her. Really can just go in the arena and ride and enjoy it. Some real highlights from this combination. They make such a nice partnership. Everything just looks so easy. And that's really what you want to see. Sukara's ears pricked, saying, "What next?" And a super job from Georgia. As Beth Revel, who's grooming for Georgia at this competition. Also grooming for Sophie Wells and based at Sophie's Yard, and comes away with me sometimes as well. She's a real asset to the team. And it's so nice as a rider when you just know that the horses are being looked after well and presented well. And scores 3 for Georgia Wilson, finishing on 72.966, scores of 70 to 74. And that puts her into silver medal position by 0.2%, just sneaking in ahead of Anne-Catherine Lube for Norway. And here are your final scores for this Grade 2. Heide Marie Dressing takes the title with 74.776 for Germany. Georgia Wilson for Great Britain sitting in that silver medal by 0.2%. And Anne-Catherine Lube for Norway takes that bronze, just 0.2% behind the silver place. And what a great start for this individual competition. Some real quality horses come through, some super scores and some super tests. A very good start to this individual. We still have 2 classes left today. The grade 1 will follow. And grade 3 will come later today. But a super, super start. The first 3 medals have been decided for this grade 2. And an excellent start to this para-dressage competition. We will resume for the grade 1 individual at 11 o'clock. So we'll see you then.